This is the oil change for a 2022 or 2023 Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid. I'm going to be doing it because the local shop charges anywhere from $90 to $110 for this oil change, and I can produce this oil change for about $40 to $45. Also, I'm going to be doing a slight modification on the oil drain plug, installing instead a Fumoto valve to make future oil changes faster to perform. The first thing you'll want to do is elevate your car. I did so by driving it onto this do-it-yourself platform that I saw built on YouTube, and I copied it with some modifications in terms of the length of each board so that it fit my bigger wheel easily. You will then want to open the hood of your car, and right here is the oil dipstick. Basically release it so that air can easily vent inside. Now you have to remove an oil panel underneath the car, which I'm going to show you now. If you come underneath the car here, there is this oil panel. It says oil right on it, with 4 screws. Make sure when you're going to remove the oil panel that you trace its external perimeter and only remove the 4 bolts that need to be removed, okay? Note also that the two 10mm bolts in the front are black, and the 2 closer to the back are silver, 1 and 2, so that you don't mix up the bolts when you're putting them back in. It also has these plastic caps that you'll have to remove with a tool that you can purchase, or with a flathead screwdriver. I prefer the tool because you can apply even pressure and make it less likely to break the plastic on it, because I am lifting it and pulling it away with even pressure. Now, once all the bolts are removed, you're going to want to pull on that access panel slightly. It'll snap, and then note that there are tabs here that you have to actually pull out. See that? It pulls out, and over here also it pulls out. And now you have access to both the oil filter and also the drain for the oil pan. So we are a little deeper underneath the car. That's the front of the car. This is the filter. This is the black oil pan with a 17mm bolt. And I have a 17mm socket to remove the bolt. So all you're gonna wanna do is just connect on and undo it. I had already released the pressure from it. I did have to snap it a little bit, but now it should be loose enough to remove by hand. And you're gonna wanna collect it into your oil drain pan. I bought this particular oil pan because a lot of times you drop your washer or you drop your bolts, and that way it'll this filter will allow it to remain on the surface rather than go hunting deep into an oil filth. The next thing you're going to want to do is to drain your oil filter. It has a small drain hole that it has this safety pin here, right here, that comes through to the opposite side over here. And then it has this O-ring plug that you can remove. So to remove this, what you're gonna do is just pull on it there. And to remove this oil O-ring plug, just spin it. Pull on the O-ring gently, and there, it's spilling. The other thing that I wanted to mention, that I forgot to mention earlier in the video, when you saw me spinning the oil filter plug after I removed the safety pin, I spun the oil filter plug. The reason for that is because the oil filter plug at the end has a T on it, a T that sticks into the oil filter cartridge, and when you turn it, it can't pull out. So you want to make sure that when you remove the safety pin, it's positioned so that the T can't pull down, and you want to spin it so that the T is in a position that it can pull down. You can figure that out easily by grabbing your new cartridge, whichever one you purchase new, and look at it and see how it spins and then pulls out for the new cartridge before you remove the old one. So you can play with it and see exactly how it pulls down, okay? It came out very easy, hardly any pressure. I first twisted it a couple times clockwise or counterclockwise just to release it. Okay, now you're gonna wanna remove with the 24mm socket the filter itself. by attaching here. I'm gonna have to use 2 hands because it's plastic and I wanna be careful, so I'm gonna stop recording. You're gonna wanna do the majority of those threads with a socket under control. And after that, when it becomes very loose, you can go ahead and remove it with your hand. There may be metal shavings inside of the filter compartment that you're gonna wanna clean out with a paper towel before placing the new filter on. While we're here, I'm gonna show you that the holder itself tells you how tightly to replace this, and it says 35 Newton meters, which is 25 foot-pounds. Now, to purchase the correct oil filter for your vehicle, you can call Kia and confirm which oil filter specifically it takes, or you can see here, it'll be listed right there. I bought an STP and there is the number. I want you to know that the filters themselves, if you just call Kia or go to the Kia Center, you'd be able to buy their Kia filter for only $12. The STP filter that I bought was $16. The other one that you can use is a Pure Later one. The part number is there, PL11520. And for that one, it's about $16 also. So the cheapest is actually buying it through Kia. Don't make the mistake of buying these on Amazon unless it is specific to the filter number that I showed you in this video. The reason for that is because I've already bought in 2 different sets that claim that they fit this Kia, and they do not. This is an example of a filter that I purchased on Amazon that did not fit this particular Kia Sorento. It claimed it did, but it did not. As you can see, it is of a different size, and both sides are different with no oil filter plug with an O-ring. It doesn't have that filter plug. So I took the new filter and aligned the O-ring plug with the spout and pushed it in. It snapped in place twice before it came all the way through. Now, once it's all the way through, you're gonna wanna make sure that the O-ring plug has the safety pin hole aligned correctly. And there it is, with the safety pin pushed in through the O-ring hole. You're going to want to remove the O-ring around the canister, but you're going to want to do so gently. Why? Because it's plastic and you're able to dent or strip the plastic, and you don't want to do that because you'll be buying a new canister if it doesn't seal appropriately. So you want to gently kind of get the screwdriver underneath it very carefully, lift off, remember which hole it was in, which is right there. Remove it, and now you're going to want to replace that one. So I'm going to put it there. There it is. Now I've got a little bit of old oil on my finger, and I'm going to be rubbing this around the entire O-ring. So we have our torque wrench, and for those of you that are not used to torque wrenches, what we do is we spin this end counterclockwise until it stops. Okay, that loosens it so that I can spin this handle. We said that the device said 25 foot-pounds, so what we're going to do is we're going to spin this until we get to the 20 mark, which is there. When the 0 hits there, it's lined up with the 20 marking, and from there we're going to go to the number 25, which is right there to line up the 5 with the line, with the inside line. Then we spin this back clockwise until there, it's tight. And now we'll have this set at 25 foot-pounds. Okay, now that we have assembled the filter cartridge, we're gonna put it back in. Make sure that you do it gently so that you don't misalign the plastic and ruin it. And after it's pretty hard to hand tighten, like it is there, I am going to grab my torque wrench and tighten it to 25 foot-pounds. I'm going to stop recording because it's important to do this two-handed because of the cheaper plastic, where I'm concerned that it's plastic and that'll break. It's not that it's that cheap, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm getting close to the end here, and I actually want you to hear when the torque wrench right there. You hear that? It snapped. Did a little click, and I know that it's at the 25 foot-pounds. I don't need to tighten anymore. I confirm that it's all the way sealed, and it is. Next, we're gonna replace the drain bolt on the oil pan. And what we do is we take this drain bolt and we place a new crush washer on it. The crush washer's function is to get crushed into the hole of the oil drain pan. See how the metal of the crush washer is sticking out with a lip to seal the oil perfectly so it doesn't leak? That's its function. So you're going to want to replace a new crush washer. Now, I've done several jobs in the past where the crush washer isn't as indented as this one. And what you can do is you can take it and with sandpaper, 60 grit, 80 grit, 100 grit, whatever you have, just sand it. Just take the washer, place it on the sandpaper, and rub on the sandpaper like so until the lip comes off and the indentations come off. So you have basically a new crush washer, and you can reinstall it using 25 to 32 foot-pounds, that range for the Kia Sorento. But you can call Kia and confirm those numbers for yourself. However, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be instead installing a new bolt to make it easy to do oil changes in the future. And it is using this device here. Now, this is the Fumoto valve. And for the Kia Sorento 2022, this is the one that you can purchase. You can always verify by just Googling Fumoto, and if you put in your year, make, and model, it'll tell you exactly which drain valves you have as a choice. I bought, of the 3 or 4 choices they had, I bought the SX because you can then twist and turn the spout to point in the direction that you want. And I like that. The way that you put this together is there's rubber on one side. You also want rubber on this side. So you want rubber on both sides. So you insert it this way. The reason it goes in that way is because once you put it in there and you screw it on this side into the drain bolt pan, you can still use this lever to turn on and off. If you install it the other way, or you try and go in from the other way, when you screw in, number one, it shouldn't go, but if it does and you do it somehow magically, then you won't be able to turn the lever because it'll be against the drain pan and you can't turn the lever. So you want to be able to turn the lever, and the way that you can turn the lever is by installing it this way, okay? And now when this is screwed into the drain pan, you can still turn this lever, okay, for functionality, and the oil comes out of here. So you're gonna wanna snap this in. You're just gonna wanna push, snap it in, and now you're gonna wanna install this into the oil pan. Here is the Fumoto valve. There we go. And now the instructions for the Fumoto valve say to tighten it to 17 foot-pounds. Right there. Just in case, let me see. Yeah, no, it clicked. That's it. So now the advantage of this Fumoto valve is that I can remove this plastic clip, turn the lever, and the oil will come out. So now what we're gonna do is replace the oil. And I have the oil already purchased, the funnel, and you're gonna wanna unsnap this cover, which I already did. Take it off. It snaps on by direct pull and push, okay, onto these points of contact right here, okay, and just pull it off. And underneath here is the oil. It'll tell you what type of oil you need to use. 0W20. So I bought full synthetic 0W20. You're just gonna unscrew this. Make sure you don't drop it into the engine. Put it in the funnel. I start pouring in the oil. About 5.1 quarts to start. After your oil is done, replace the cap, twist it on tight, align the ports for this, and click it on. There, that one clicked, and the back clicked. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna check the oil level. Now, I took the car off the ramp in order to be level with the ground after I filled it with 5.1 quarts. So now what we wanna do is check the oil level. We're gonna pull this. You're gonna wanna clean it off. Reinsert and check. The way that we check this is, So I wanted to explain the oil check. But what would happen is if I inserted the stick and the oil level was up to here, what would happen is when I pull the stick out, there is no oil up here to drip down and fill the lip there and stay as a droplet there. So instead you'd get the oil level. If it was only up to here, it would drip down and you'd see the droplet of oil here at this line for sure, and maybe a little bit above in these little grooves, and you would know it's not full. If instead the oil level is to the full mark to here, when you pull out this tab, the residual oil from up here will drop down and via gravity, and it'll stop at this groove, and you'll form an oil droplet here, and you'll see that it's full. For me, it was full. So now for the cleanup, all I'm gonna have to do is, for this oil drain pan that I bought on Amazon, I'm gonna be able to cover it, okay, spin this on so it cannot leak, okay. I'm gonna wipe the outside of it clean. Then I'm gonna take, I'm gonna be able to stand it up. I'm gonna be able to remove this spout cover and fill this up with the old oil. What I do with the old oil is, you can take it to basically check, you know, for your state, but in my state, you can call Walmart, any Walmart with an auto center, and you can drop it off there, or any local auto shop, auto zone. They'll take up to 5 gallons of your used oil for disposal, and you just bring in your canister, hand it to them, and walk away. Some of them will say, we can't take the plastic jug, we can only take the oil, and they'll hand you back the empty plastic jug, which, you know, you dispose of yourself.